be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. Do the same at the Grizzly Gentleman, same promo code, 10% off at checkout. Both of these are fantastic deals, and they help support the show. What's up, Planeswalkers? Theoric 6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Zendikar Rising spoiler review type thingamajig, blah blah blah. Today's the second day. I know yesterday I said that I'm changing the way I'm doing previews. I'm going to essentially do that for the next preview cycle, where hopefully I will have everything like in line properly. So technically no Bolas video today. I know, it's sad, but there's no but. Unfortunately, like, I have a bunch of stuff to do, and I want to make sure I can get all of these videos out. And the meta's going to change. I don't want to necessarily play a Bolas deck just yet. So, hopping on in, we have Grotag Bugcatcher. It's a 2-mana 1/2 Goblin Warrior with trample. Whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+0 for your party. Now, this is always, unless someone gets rid of its creature types, this is always going to be attacking at least as a 2/2 Trampler, which is on rate not bad, especially considering, on average, Wizards has made it so that in Limited, you're expected to get 2 out of this. So attacking as a 3/2 Trampler, Goblin, and Warrior, I think those are really 2 very strong creature types. Now, I don't know if the historic Goblin deck runs a sufficient number of Clerics, Rogues, or Wizards, but generally speaking, this is definitely going to be decent in Limited. Whether or not I'll see play in historic Goblins, it won't. Muxus is too strong. Let's see, we talked about Fiends. Did we talk about the Hellhound? Yeah, I did. Deadly Alliance, I do not believe we've talked about yet. I don't know exactly what's going on in this art, because, like, just there's so much stuff going on. I think this is like Caesar, and he's just getting A2 Brutus by everyone here, which sucks, but he looks like he's, oh yeah, he could handle any one of us, but he's no match for all of us, yeah. I don't know what this person was like, what kind of shit this person was talking, but, they shouldn't have. 5 mana, instant, destroy target creature, Planeswalker. Not great. For what it's worth, this is like on rate for limited common removal, and this has the potential to be a single black mana. Now, once again, we have to remember Wizards expects us to have about 2 creatures in our party on average in limited, so this is likely going to be a 3 mana instant destroy target creature Planeswalker, and in limited, as a common card, I think this is actually going to be very strong and a very highly picked card in limited. This is just, what's the word I'm looking for? Unconditional removal that is technically on rate to start with and can be much cheaper as you're playing the game. So I think it's really cool. Raptors Mace. Once again, I love pointing out that Wizards is making more colored artifacts. I think that is a fantastic way to make them a little bit stronger than they otherwise would be. And I believe all of the equipment so far, I could be wrong, but I believe all of the equipment in Zendikar Rising so far have been such that they enter the battlefield, you immediately attach it to a creature you control. Obviously, this isn't as good if you don't control a creature, but I think this does allow them to make the equip costs a little bit more and still have the ability, like, be worthwhile, especially in limited, obviously. This is a 3 mana Rakdos one, and it's battlefield already attached. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each creature in your party and has menace. So this one technically has a chance of giving you +0/+0, which is not the best. But on average, this is meant to be a +2/+0, and that might not seem like a great rate for a 3 mana equipment. However, it also gives menace, and menace is definitely worth that. Being able to put this on just your largest creature, even frankly, if you don't have any attack bonus, just granting menace, especially with something that you can continually move the menace around, is pretty strong. The equip cost is 2 black-red, but I don't think that's necessarily too bad, at least in limited. I do like the fact that Wizards is very slowly making more interesting equipment. When equipment essentially was like first around, it was, you know, garbage tier or busted because, you know, Wizards didn't know how to balance it. It slowly like got corrected, but Wizards, I guess, kept like slightly increasing the gap again, and it was once again busted or garbage. And then Wizards like just wasn't printing like any equipment. There was a couple of sets in a row that just like had no equipment, and I think that's because Wizards had to realize that the way they were printing equipment wasn't great. So I'm enjoying the fact that we are slowly seeing Wizards introduce some more interesting equipment. I will say Embercleave was too good, but no, I like it. Lord of the Grave, Wiley Beckert is very quickly becoming one of my favorite Magic artists. All of this art is just so, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It definitely, like, harkens back to early Magic without being bad. A lot of people, cough the professor, kind of discuss older Magic art as being like so much better, or at least that's the perception that I get, than newer art, and I just cannot disagree more. I think newer art looks amazing, and one of the reasons is that, you know, Wizards is being a little bit more like, hey, make sure it looks like this. Wizards does seem to have lessened the grip in recent years, in the past, 2 or 3 years, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Since BFZ. And we're seeing a lot more very interesting, very unique art from artists where you can tell, like, oh, this is a Seb McKinnon joint, this is a Wiley joint, and I definitely appreciate that, but it still, like, looks like Magic art to me, and that's something that's kind of hard to define, but still. 6 mana, sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Cool. Return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a more expensive Rise from the Grave. However, Rise from the Grave can hit any graveyard. But this can get 5 cards back on an uncommon sorcery. Right. Even if you cost... Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly. Return target creature and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, and up to 1... Oh, you know what? I misread this. I thought it was one of each. My bad. I misread this. I thought it was busted. Now it's just good. 6 mana to just return 2 creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield is strong. Like, if you look at something like Command the Dreadhorde, that is rare, which is something you have to keep in mind. And you can get any number of creatures between, but you have to pay life for it, and there's no chance of cost reduction. Whereas this can be cost reduced all the way down to just black. Typically speaking, you're going to expect to pay about 4 for this on average, and being able to just get any creature and then an extra one of something in your party. I just think it's fantastic. I really like this card, and if they're good targets for it, I don't see why this wouldn't see playing unlimited. Swarm Shambler. This is a 1-mana fungus beast. I don't know what's going on in all this. Is that his face? I don't know. I don't want to know. It's a 0/0, enters the battlefield with 1/1 counter on it, so it's a 1-mana 1/1. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. I'm a little upset. I understand the whole, like, Swarm Shambler. Call it something. Call it Spore Shambler. Fungus are supposed to make saplings, my dude. I'm sad that it doesn't make saplings. Whenever a creature you control with a... then you can pay 1 and tap it, put a 1/1 counter on Spore Shambler. I think it's very cool. It's a decent 1-drop for your Selesnya or Abzan or Golgari counters deck. And this card is just very nice at being like, okay, if you target a removal, one of my creatures, I'm going to get some extra value from it, and theoretically be able to put some counters on that. So I do like this card. I do not know exactly how strong it is, but I like it. Oh gosh. Nighthawk Scavenger. 1 black for a Vampire Rouge. It is a 1+star 3. It has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink. This is Vampire Nighthawk at a higher rarity. There's a gnat flying around my face. Whose power starts off as less than Nighthawk. Nighthawk is a 2/3, but its power is equal to 1+ the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. This is essentially the Tarmogoyf stat distribution here. So the card types are what? Land, instant, sorcery, artifact, creature, enchantment, planeswalker, tribal, I think is what it is. I think it's 8. travel essentially doesn't exist. It's relatively easy to get creatures, sorceries, and instants into the graveyard. So, you know, this can be a very respectable 3 to 4 mana, like a decent amount of the time, 4 power creature, sorry. And it's a vampire and a rogue, both very important creature types. This card seems nuts. Utterly nuts. It's bonkers. Dauntless Survivor, 2 mana, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. We've seen this before. I mean, we've seen one, like, I think as recently as Ikoria, if I recall correctly. Just the 2 mana, 1/1 that can put a counter on something. So it can either be a bear, or it can buff the rest of your stuff. I like it. I like these types of effects. They're usually relatively decent in limited, just because of the fact that, hey, at minimum, it's a grizzly bear. And grizzly bears, while never great, are usually decent. Expedition Skulker is a 2 mana, 2/2. It's a black grizzly bear. I swear, this gnat. I have a trap for it on my desk, but it's leaving it alone. Expedition Skulker has Death Touch as long as you control another rogue. It's a vampire and a rogue. Once again, very important creature types. I don't think this will see play in the constructed rogue decks, either in standard or historic. But I do think that if you are looking to do either a vampire or a rogue deck in limited, it's not going to be bad. Having Death Touch on a 2 mana creature is great, because you can trade up. It's nice. Oh. Taberax, Hope's Demise, is a 3 mana, 2/2 demon cleric. I love it. Flying, great. Taberax has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Taberax. If that creature was a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, lose a life. This is a cleric. This cares about +1/+1 counters. It cares about clerics. It uses your life, so technically it cares about your life total. This is one of the reasons why you would want to go Abzan token, or Abzan cleric lifelink sacrifice counters, as opposed to just Celestia, because this does a lot of great work. Like, the thing is, at minimum, right? At minimum, this is a 3 mana 2/2 flyer, which is obviously, it's a Windrake. It's not the best. I'm just realizing this is a legendary. The fact that it's a legendary means you can't have duplicates of it on the field, which is a little problematic. But still, just being able to put this in a Aristocrats build, keep drawing cards, which is important. Leverage that life total that you may not necessarily need to be super high, is just real nice, real strong. Umar Mystic, it is a 3 mana, 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. Flying whenever you cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell. This gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This is very similar to, gosh, what are they called? Dragonaut? We Dragonauts? Yeah, We Dragonauts. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, We Dragonauts gets blah blah blah. So instead of being a fairy wizard, this is a Merfolk Wizard. So frankly, better creature type, and it has more triggers. Yeah, this is just better. Yeah, it's essentially just better. I do like the whole the wizard tribe in Zendikar Rising, caring not just about instant sorceries, but also other wizard spells. I think that's really cool. I think it's an interesting extension of this ability. Maul the Skyclaves. 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to a creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Oh, but it has first flying. And it has first strike. It's pretty good for 3 in mana. There's 3 mana to immediately give a creature +2/+2 flying and first strike. That's strong. And the equip cost for this is also 4 mana. It's 2 dub white. That's not bad for that effect. If you're going to be playing equipment in standard, you're almost certainly playing this. In historic, you're probably playing this too. This is just generally a very strong card, and once again, the main reason for that is the fact that it can immediately attach to a creature. So if you play a 2 mana, I think there's a 2 mana 1/1 with double strike in the set, right? Didn't we talk about that last episode? I don't remember. But if you play this on like a 2 mana 1/1. Hopefully it has a double strike or something. And then you just follow it up with this. You're immediately hitting for if it has double strike, 6 damage on turn 3, or if it doesn't, whatever, then it's still 3 damage flying on turn 3 that you can just give to other things if it dies. And once again, like, the 4 mana equipment cost isn't all that bad, because of the rest of the value, and I love this card, absolutely love it. Spikefield Hazard deals 1 damage to any target. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile instead. This is similar to other cards we've seen. Except that it only deals 1 damage instead of the typical 2. But what's nice, of course, is the fact that this can... words are hard. This can be used as a land, and you could theoretically use this with Pestilent Skeleton? I don't remember what it's called. In Historic. Just for memes, if you want. It's the 3 mana skeleton dude that, like, gives your instants and sorceries death touch or something like that. Zoff Consumption, fucking horrifying. 6 mana, each opponent loses 4 life and you gain 4 life. It's not good. Don't play it. I knew I was gonna mess this one up. Practiced Tactics is a 1 mana instant. Choose target attacking or blocking creature. It deals damage to that creature equal to twice the number of creatures in your party. On average, you're gonna have 2, which means this is gonna deal on average 4 damage. This can hit blocking or attacking creatures, so it's a combat trick no matter what. I think it is decent. If you're in combat, you're probably using some creatures, which hopefully will have those cool creature types. I don't know. It seems fine, I suppose. Yeah, this seems fine. Roiling Vortex is a 2 mana enchantment. Beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex deals 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Roiling Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. You can pay a red. Your opponents can't gain life this turn. This is interesting. I don't think this goes into like a historic burn deck, but one of the I've heard people talk about like vintage and stuff. I doubt it. But this is interesting because this does just hurt 0 mana artifacts, right? Like it's just if they cast a spell and no mana was spent to cast it. It hurts that. It hurts like cascading into things. It hurts I think Genesis Ultimatum also technically allows you to cast things for free. It hurts, obviously, if you're using Omniscience, which I think is this... No, that uses a Merchant Ultimatum. So, Merchant Ultimatum, Genesis put them on the battlefield. Look, I don't remember. Regardless, this has very niche uses. In general, though, I think they packaged enough into this where I would not be surprised if it saw play somewhere, right? Just being able to damage everyone each turn is potentially profitable. Forcing opponents to lose 5, like that is a lot of damage. Even in something like EDH, if your opponents are playing a lot of 0-cost cards or playing a lot of free cards, then that's still like decent. If you're able to get 2 triggers on this per person, that's probably fine in EDH. Yeah, I think you probably need that much, which is not super likely, but if the shoe fits, and then of course being able to be like, hey, oh, actually, you know what? This might be fine in red burn sideboards. I don't think this would be in red deck win sideboards, but in red burn sideboard against the life gain deck, like that, the historic burn deck doesn't really have play against the life gain deck, right? But this being able to essentially like every turn, like obviously you have to hold up red, but theoretically speaking, right? Like if your opponent was going to gain like 3 or 4 life this turn, that's still like that's essentially a lightning bolt. And it does hurt everyone. Yeah, no, I think this maybe could see some play in historic burn. Coral Helm Chronicler, 3 mana 2/2 Merfolk Wizard. Whenever you cast a kick spell, draw a card, then discard a card. Notably, we have other kick spells in historic. Also means historic Brawl from Dominaria. So I definitely expect to see some fun historic decks in with Kicker, and then Halar. We're likely going to see a little bit more play of that in Historic Brawl, which I'm excited about. I think Halar was pretty cool. Anyway, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a card with Kicker, with a Kicker ability from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The fact that this says a Kicker ability makes me think that this is like retrofitted to work with multi-Kicker. and potentially future fitted to work with any other variants of kicker that Wizards might make. So I assume that's why it's worded this way. And frankly, you put the rest of the bottom in any order. This seems like just a fine card. 3-mana 2/2 with some decent abilities, I think is quite nice. Obviously, it's a looting ability. You don't get to just draw a card when you cast a kick spell, but being able to dig further for more kicker spells, or just replace like lands or something if you don't need them, or replace kicker spells that you can't kick because you don't have the lands. I think generally speaking, it's pretty nice. Soul Shatter. It's another card. 3-mana instant, each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. I don't know if this is good enough. This is very similar to Vona's Hunger. Obviously, instant speed sacrifice is nice. It chooses between a creature and planeswalker, so if your opponent has both, they get to just choose whichever is best for them. And generally speaking, you don't want an effect to be your opponent's best choice. That said, in EDH, if you are playing in a meta which doesn't necessarily have a very wide strategies at the tables, then this is probably fine because it's not symmetrical. So like at the worst, it's just like a bad removal, which isn't great, obviously, but you know. Tangled Fluorohedron. This is apparently everyone's new favorite card from the set, and everyone should be able to see why. It's adorable. It's a little Hedron elemental. It's so cool. 2-mana 1/1. Add a green. Sure. All right. It's an elemental. Fair. And then of course it could also be this. I'm going to make a statement right now that I was kind of talking about a little bit before, and that is I do feel like there isn't sufficient reference to the Eldrazi blight. Everything essentially is back to normal. And according to the story, I think it's been a few years around. I think it was hinted around like 3 or 4, which, you know, it's a long time, but it's still, it doesn't feel like it, right? We haven't been to old Battle for Zendikar was actually like a while ago, even though it really does not feel like it. Battle for Zendikar, which released 2015. So I think it has been 5 years, because I think Wizards tries to keep sets on roughly at the same timeline we're on, typically speaking. So like the next time we go to New Phyrexia, theoretically, it will have been however many years past since we were there last in canon. And I think that's a reasonable thing for Wizards to do, because it makes it so that it's a little bit easier to I guess understand the passage of time if we're like just focusing on a single group of characters. However, when we start focusing on a large group of characters, it's like, wait, they did what? Because if you remember, Koth is still on New Phyrexia, and if we go back there and he's still like just a resistance fighter, it's like, you've been doing this for 10 years? Like, how are you alive, frankly? So I can understand that, but there's also just the disconnect with me for, yes, it's been many years, but like, Zendikar was like, fudge, dude. Like, I you know, there's obviously some art here and there with remnants of Eldrazi images, either via that one statue or some random bismuth type crystals. But there should be more things that look like that. And of course, we haven't technically seen the entire set, but it feels weird to me that there isn't more. Immunities Call is a 7-mana sorcery. Create 2 4/4 angels with flying. Excuse me. And then, of course, non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. So what's interesting is that you can theoretically play this and then board wipe. Obviously, your non-angel creatures get board wipe protection, so your angels that you just made will die. But if you somehow have that much mana, you can do it. Additionally, it is until your next turn, so you know you can kind of say that, hey, my creatures are not going to die. Attacking me is not in your best interest. Yada yada yada. But it is at the end of the day most likely just 7 mana for 2 4/4s. Who am I kidding? That's not a terrible rate. And the fact that you can just like have it be a land is real good. I expect to see this, probably not in historic, what am I saying? Probably not. Definitely not in historic control decks, but I don't see a reason why this can't be played in standard control decks, other than previous sets are just stronger. I didn't get it. Lull Mage's Dominion. This is actually one that I have not seen. So it's X, triple blue. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature whose controller has 8 or more cards in the graveyard. Okay, so it's a rogue spell. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. So if you have... Oh! I mean, obviously it's meant to work with, like, the rogue things. If the controller has 8 or more cards in the graveyard. So this could just, like, potentially go into a mill deck and just take something. You're unlikely, at least in standard, and maybe historic. I haven't done the maths. But no, because you can go turn 1, the 1-drop Merfolk woman adventure spell from Eldraine, and then turn 2 Well of Lost Thoughts, I think, and Wall of Lost, whatever. I think both of those mill 4. So theoretically, you can play this on turn 3 to steal a 3-drop. Obviously, I don't think this is going to be, like, ubiquitous. Typically speaking, in a mill deck, you're just going to want to go hard on the mill. And you're not necessarily going to need this card, but if you're going to be playing some sort of weird hybrid mill deck, where you actually are trying to kill your opponent's creatures, such as the rogue mill deck, then I think this can possibly see play there. I'm not entirely sure. Mindcarver. Black equipment. When it enters the battlefield, it comes equipped. Equip your creature to +1/+0. It gets +3/+1 instead, as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Costs 3 to equip. This is a rogue enchantment. Rogue equipment. Is cool. It's not. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It scales. It scales, which is nice. This is not going to see play in the rogue deck, in like standard or historic. But if you're playing that archetype in draft or something, I think this is probably pretty strong. Cleansing Wildfire. This is a common. I want to point out this is a common. This is a 2-mana common land destruction spell. This is a 2-mana common sorcerer speed land destruction spell. Destroy target land. Its controller. Destroy target land. This is not non-basic. This is destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle their library, draw a card. This is a 2-mana land destruction spell at common, which draws a card. Wizards of the Coast, thank you so much. I give you the clap. I am going to attempt to play this in Boros Death and Taxes alongside Aven Mind Sensor, because I think it's funny. I have seen a lot of people in Pauper talk about this like hurting Tron. I've seen a lot of people respond to those people saying this is not going to hurt Tron at all. I believe, by the way, that this looks like some Ulamog corruption back here. Yeah, I mean, this looks like the calcified Ulamog corruption. Not enough, Wizards, not enough. That said, like, this is... I mean, like, just put it in the... There's already, like, a jank kind of Boros land destruction deck in Historic. It's cool. I don't know what you want me to say. 4-mana 3/3 enters the battlefield. Scry X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. We've seen a few of these in recent past. Just 4-mana 3/3s that scry for some amount. We've seen this with like Octopodes in the past recently. But Merfolk Wizard that scries for your party. It's going to scry at least 1, so it's decent there. You're expected to scry on average 2, and obviously being able to scry 4 deep is pretty nice. And this is on an okay body. This is a red-headed Merfolk. I don't know why it seems weird to me. Seagate Colossus is a 7-mana 7/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. On average, you're going to cast 5 for this. Theoretically, you can cast 3 for this. This is theoretically a 3-mana 7/5, but it actually isn't. That said, it is a warrior by itself, which is nice. So if you have a rogue, cleric, and wizard, and then you cast this for 4 mana, it's a 4-mana 7/5 that completes your party. Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. Yeah, sure, why not? It's common. I don't know if that matters. Sure-Footed Infiltrator is a 4-mana 2/3 Merfolk Rogue. Tap another untapped rogue you control. This can't be blocked. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. If you're playing the rogue archetype, in limited, this is probably going to be pretty decent. It's unfortunate that, of course, you have to tap an untapped rogue in control in order to make it so this can't be blocked. But I mean, you know, it's guaranteed damage, and you get to draw cards, so it's probably fine. You a merfolk? You are a merfolk. Angel of Destiny. It's a 5 mana, 2/6 mythic angel cleric with flying and double strike. Whenever creature control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. So essentially, this gives all of your creatures lifelink. And it forces your opponent to gain that life. Now, I should note, this is a triggered ability. Okay, this doesn't actually give lifelink. So if you put your opponent to 0, this trigger will still go on the stack, but they will be dead because of state-based actions. Okay, this is a trigger; they don't immediately live. So if you die because of this card and you're like, I'm supposed to gain the life, that's why. At the beginning of your end step, not your upkeep, this thing does not have to survive. If you have at least 15 more life than your starting life total, each player, Angel of Destiny, attacked this turn, loses the game. This says attacked this turn. She does not have to connect. She does not have to deal freaking combat damage. She just has to have attacked them. And obviously survived, but still. This is a 2/6, which means it's relatively hefty on the backside. And has double strike. And it only costs 5. It's also a cleric. It's also an angel. In the white life gain decks, you are playing a lot of clerics, and oftentimes a lot of angels. This slots into it. I don't see how this doesn't just slot into the mono white life gain deck. Maybe you just kill. No, I mean, it's so good, though. It's so good. It's another way. I really like the 15 life more than your starting life threshold that Wizard seems to be doing. We saw that with one of the Ajani's that can wipe out your opponent's creatures and planeswalkers, I think? I don't remember what it wipes out, but still. Minimum it wipes out your creatures. So I do like that. And generally speaking, I really like this card. I think it's very cool. Gomafada Vanguard. Hello, Mudda. Gomafada. 2 mana, 2/2. It's a nice grizzly bear. When it attacks, target creature and opponent controls with power less than or equal to the number of warriors you control can't block this turn. Essentially, you're turning the thing into a coward. It's a bear with upside. That's about it. It's a bear with upside. Zagras. Zagras. I'm not sure. Zagras sounds hardcore. Thief of Heartbeats. Jeez. Don't cut yourself on that edge. 6 mana, 4/4, Vampire Rouge. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. A bit strange, but whatever. Flying Death Touch H, though. That's not bad. Other creatures you control at Death Touch. Also not that bad. Good old-fashioned Death Touch travel there. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a Planeswalker, destroy that Planeswalker. Now, notably, obviously it gives you all of your creatures Death Touch, sure. But the creatures technically don't have to have Death Touch for this ability to work, to destroy the Planeswalkers, whatever, it doesn't matter. But this is another card that allows you to destroy Planeswalkers, even if you only connect with one thing. Does this vampire have a beard? Like, I understand that there's like a chest plate type thing here. But this looks like a full-ass beard, though. Seeing a Zendikari vampire with a beard just looks wrong to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like, dude. It's a cool card. It's a cool card. I do not know how to evaluate it past that. Inscription of Abundance is a 2 mana instant with kicker. Choose 1 if the spell was kicked. Choose any number instead. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature at minimum. Right? That is an okay combat trick. Like, that is playable by itself. Obviously, it's a rare, so you're not going to see a bunch of it in limited, which is why it's fine. But that by itself is fine. Target player gains X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures creatures they control. So it's target player, so you can theoretically help a comrade. But that's okay in a pinch. And then target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. I mean, it seems not bad. And when you resolve spells, you resolve them in order. So if you were to kick this, it'd be a 5 mana card that can put 2 1/1 counters on a creature of yours. Theoretically, you can give it to someone else because it's not a creature you control, which I do appreciate. You make that creature bigger, you gain life equal to your bigger creature, and then that bigger creature gets to fight something. And I like that it's a gain life first, then fight, because theoretically, that fighting creature could still die. And if it was switched, it would fight, and then you'd gain life, but you'd gain life that's less because your fighting creature has potentially died. So I like that card. Seagate Banaret is a 1 mana 1/2, 5 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. It is a card to go wide and limited, I guess. It's a 1 mana warrior for limited, I suppose. Cleric of Chill Depths is a 2 mana 1/3 Merfolk Cleric. Who would have thought? Whenever Cleric of Chill Depth blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap until or untap during its controller's next untap step. So this chills things out. Cool frost magic, bro. I dropped my comb because I'm trash, and it is late, and it's Tuesday, and Tuesday is my my longest day of work. It's fine. It's limited fine. 4 mana 3/2 Jiraga Visionary Elf Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Is elf that draws cards. This is fine in limited. Feed the Swarm. 2 mana sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. Now, this is just straight up targeted removal. It's sorcery speed, obviously, so that does make it a little bit worse. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, it is just targeted removal. And if you needed to kill something anyway, you possibly were going to take damage from it. And this gives black targeted ways of dealing with enchantments. I'm going to be playing it in most of my, essentially, mono black commander decks. I like this card. I think it is a good way to deal with enchantments. A lot of people I've seen are upset about this card because, oh no, they're giving blacks ways to deal with enchantments. Wizards has already said red can't deal with enchantments, but it can deal with artifacts. Black is the only color that has like 2 permanent types that it couldn't deal with, artifacts and enchantments. And since red can deal with artifacts, they were like, all right, let's make it so black can't. So that if you put black and red together, black can poorly deal with enchantments, at least for right now, but red can deal with artifacts. That's very helpful. My Scorpion God deck will be incredibly happy to have this card. Because as of right now, I have like Enchanter's Bane in the deck, and that is not really sufficient. It's hard to deal with like annoying enchantments. Anyway, I like this card. Will it see play in like as essentially just a normal 2 mana removal spell? I don't think so. I think you're gonna tend to want the instant ones. Losing the life is actually not nearly as much of an issue than the whole sorcery speed. Highborn Vampire, 4 mana 4/3 Vampire Warrior. Angel Heart Protector, 3 mana 3/2 Human Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, target creature control gains indestructible until end of turn. This does not have flash, so essentially this is an aggressive effect. It is a 3 mana 3/2, which is actually like fine stats for something like limited. I don't know much more to say about that. It's fine. It is like exactly fine. Fissure Wizard. Okay, Wizards. 2 mana 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Cool. Impulse draw. On a 2 mana 2/1. That seems fine. Relic Robber. I love this card. I'm not gonna lie. 3 mana haste 2/2. Sure, it's a Goblin Rogue. Useful creature types. When it deals damage to a player, that player creates a 0/1 colorless Goblin Construct artifact creature token with this creature can't block. And at the beginning of your upkeep, this creature deals 1 damage to you. So essentially, the goal is to keep hitting them with Relic Robber, who is, I guess, just like putting a relic. He's just like gifting you a relic after punching you in the face, and the relic is cursed and you can't get rid of it. I mean, you can get rid of it. You can attack with it for what it's worth. You can use it to sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, of course, sacrifice decks are currently like all the rage in at least Historic. So not the best things, but still, I absolutely love this card. It's so funny. It just keeps hitting them. Crawling Barrens is a creature land. It is a random land. It taps to add a colorless. Pay 4, put 2 1/1 counters on Crawling Barrens. Then you may have it become a 0/0 elemental creature until end of turn. This has a lot of potential in a 2-color control deck. A 1 or 2 color control deck. Being colorless, I don't think that you can reasonably put this in a 3-color control deck. Unless maybe that control deck has green in it, but even then I'm not entirely sure. But what's really nice about this type of card is that you are able to make it larger without forcing it to become a creature. So you can keep just being like, all right, I'm I'm holding up a bunch of mana for counter spells, or, you know, potentially if I have it, card draw, if I don't need it, or, you know, typically if I'm not countering a spell. Well, I tap 4 mana, and I can make this bigger. And what's nice is that when you're being when you're doing that mode, you can use itself to add to it. Whereas when you start attacking, you'll need 5 total mana. But when you're just making it have some counters, you just boop, 4 mana, including one of this. I really like this card. I think it is pretty cool, and I would not be surprised if I saw it see play in a 1 or 2 color control deck. Valakut Exploration. I'm not gonna lie. This is no offense to oh, this is their only card so far. Well, cool stuff. But just Jesper's art. I don't know why. I just really love Jesper's art. 3 mana enchantment landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valakut Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard. Then Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. This card does a lot of interesting things. I am not qualified to talk about them. It's like that kind of impulse draw in red. It deals damage to opponents, like that one Chandra. I think she's like 4 mana or something, where like you can cast the card, but if you don't, like, it deals damage to your opponent. Play this in red EDH decks. Skyclave Geopede. 3 mana, 3/1, trample. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This is similar to Plated Geopede, but I frankly don't remember what Plated Geopede is. Does. Like, what does it do? So it's a 2 mana, 1/1, the first strike. This is a 3 mana, 3/1 with trample. The first strike helps this stay alive. The trample helps this put damage through. Becomes a 5/3. Honestly, this seems pretty decent. I don't know how good it is, but it seems decent. Yeah. Gasharn, Implacable Earth. 4 mana, 4/4, Elemental Boar. A lot of ores in here. When it enters the battlefield, search the library for a basic forest and a basic plains. Reveal those cards, put them into your hand. Cool. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. This is very similar to Sigarda, Host of Herons, I want to say. Sigarda, Host of Herons. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you... Oh, never mind. What's this like? There is an effect like this. I just don't remember what it is. But yeah, players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. Yeah, I mean, this is just strong. This hates on a lot of the sacrifice decks. Notably, it is non-land, so it doesn't stop fetch lands, including Fabled Passage. But still, generally speaking, like, this is just like a fine card, right? Like, it draws 2 cards. It is just on rate. It's a 4 mana, 4/4. And it means that your opponent just, like, can't do some things. I'm definitely going to try it in Selesnya, Death and Taxes. But generally speaking, it's just a fine card. It's also honestly, it's also just like not a bad commander either. Like for a green-white Death and Taxes commander, typically you'll see the Death and Taxes commanders be white-red or white-blue. Things like Grand Arbiter, and then white-red I can't actually think off the top of my head, but red does have a lot of good like a land-based tax effects. Well, I think this can give you some interesting stuff for green. Yeah, no, I like that. It's cool. Seagate Stormcaller. We did not talk about this card yet. It's a mythic. It's a 2 mana, 2/1 human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, copy the next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less you cast this turn when you cast it. Okay. If it was kicked, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copies. This is only ever going to copy instant sorceries with CMC 2 or less. That is important to note. However, if you kick it, you get to do it twice. Is that good enough? I don't actually know. I cannot really speak to this card because this really does feel like a Johnny card. It's a 2-mana 2/1, so it definitely has that Snapcaster vibe. And it doesn't have flash, and it's a pre copy, right? So it's the next time you cast one of these. So it's not like you can cast your spell, flash this in to copy it. This is I'm going to cast this first, kind of telegraphing, hey, I plan on casting a spell to get a copy of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And it has to be two, CMC 2 or less. I have no idea. Like, I don't feel like this card's going to be strong in Standard or even Historic. But it might be just utterly busted somewhere else. I have no idea. Hollow Knight, why aren't you playing your music? No, this gnat is driving me crazy. Oh, we get to it. Oh, here it is. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite card out of the set. 3 mana, Archon of Emeria. 2/3, Flying Archon. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. What more is there to say? This hurts on combo. This doesn't care about non-creature. It's just can't cast more than one spell. So elves, have fun. Can't this combo? I mean, it's kind of nowhere to be found right now, but still, have fun. Oh, you're going to be playing a very gritty control deck? All right, all your stuff's going to come in tapped while I beat you to death. I'm also going to make it so all your spells cost more because I'm going to play Turn 2 Thalia into this. Oh, by the way, this does not have 2 toughness. It has 3. So, bite me. I love it. I love this card. It's so good. Song Mad Treachery. 5 mana. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, gains haste until end of turn. It's kind of an expensive version of the spell, but it can be a land, so I guess it's okay. Whirling Regrowth is a 3 mana. Instant, sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then check your library. This is... I think this is essentially... Oh, no! No, this is a fixed version of... Why? Why? No, I know the card! Why? Alright, give me a second. It was Harrow. This is a fixed version of Harrow. Now, notably, right, Harrow is as an additional cost to cast. This is not. This is on resolution. With Harrow, if you plan on copying your spells, Harrow is better. Because you don't have to have that additional cost. You just get... You essentially are getting up 3, right? You sack 1, you search for 4. You're up 3. Whereas with this, if you copy it, you're sacking 2, searching for 4, so you're only up 2. So technically speaking, if you're copying spells, Harrow is better. Generally speaking, this is better, because if it gets countered, you're not out of a land. Westward Surge is a 4-mana sorcery kicker. Choose your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. If the spell was kicked, put 2 1/1 counters on each creature control. So it's potentially an 8-mana card to make your creatures a little bit bigger. You know, this is in the 4-mana search library for 2 lands. Put them in tap. This has to be basic, but I think that's fair. Generally speaking, I think this is a reasonable card. Will it see play in Standard? Probably not, although we did see Circuitous Route see play once we really had a reason to see it, have it see play. So I would give this a non-0% chance of seeing play in Standard. Adventure awaits. 2 mana. Sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. In a random order, sorry. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, draw a card. So, you can choose not to reveal a creature card, even if there is a creature card in the top 5. You can choose to fail to find in a hidden zone. Okay? So, even if you have creatures, if they're not what you need at that moment, you can just choose, I'm going to put them on the library in a random order, and hope to get another card. So technically, this card can look at 6 cards deep if you really need a specific card to get. It's cool. It's cool. I like it. It's cool. Mechanic Stampede. 5 mana creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. This is a go wide combat trick for limited. Not combat trick, but it's a go wide trick. Whatever. I don't know what they're called. I don't play limited. For the kind of white, most likely red aggressive decks in limited. I will note it doesn't give trample or evasion, but still. Bubble Snare is a 1-mana enchantment or a kicker 3. Enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So I really do like this card because oftentimes you can just play this on a creature without having to kick it, and the creature is going to be tapped because it probably attacked you. Otherwise, you can pay 4 total mana to tap it down. We've seen Capture Sphere, which I believe has flash and does essentially this, taps it down and then doesn't untap. But you're getting a you're getting very much an under costed card for just the having the doesn't untap effect, but you're paying technically a little bit more to tap it down so that you have the full effect. At common, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool card. Nice way to change that design up. Broken Wings, 3 mana instant, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. It is a role player. Vine Gecko. This card is adorable. I don't care what anyone says. This card's adorable. 2 mana, 2/2. Look. It's a bear. It's a grizzly bear. Cool. First kick spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. This is very obviously going to go in Halar. Whenever you cast a kick spell, put a 1/1 counter on Vine Gecko. Cool. You can cast so you play this on turn 2, and then you can play a spell, which with its kicked cost would total 4 mana, but play it on turn 3. And then you can attack with a 3/3. It's cool. I like this card. Practice. Paired Tactician. 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever Paired Tactician and at least one other warrior attack, put a 1/1 counter on Paired Tactician. Once again, this is kind of the go wide warrior strategy in white and red for limited. 3 mana, 3/2 with upside is fine. Rock Slide Sorcerer is a 4 mana 3/3. Got that sweet Hill Giant stat. Whenever you cast an instant Sorcerer Wizard, Rock Slide Sorcery deals 1 damage to any target. Cool. Hollow Knight. You're being real quiet. Nemana Skitter Sneak, 4 mana for a 3/4 Human Rouge. As long as an opponent has as long as opponent has Rogue Milled, it gets +1/+0 and has menace. This is a pretty strong card for the Rogue Mill archetype in limited. 4 mana 3/4 is absolutely great as a common stat line for black, and being able to have a 4 mana 4/4 with menace in black is also quite nice, and it also has an important creature type. Malakir Blood Priest. Scott Murphy, you've done something similar to this specific art before. I'm sure of it. Too many cards. Wait. I think it was this. I think it was the Lanora Tribe that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think it was Lanora Tribe. I was like, there's something so familiar about this general form. Anyway, 2 mana, 2/1 Vampire Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures in your party. This is at minimum going to be 1, unless nonsense happens, and typically it's going to be 2. I don't think that's super great. However, it's a 2 mana Cleric. If you're trying to do a party thing or a vampire thing or a cleric thing in limited, I think it's reasonable. Fearless Fledgling. Oh my gosh, who's the artist? Jesper, why is your art so great? Look at his face. Look at his face, dude. It's so cute. I love it. Like, this art is good. Do not get me wrong. This is solid art. But this art just is so much more evocative of a baby bird that doesn't give any craps. 2 mana 1/1. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Fearless Fledgling. It gains flying until end of turn. This is amazing in a Blue-White Skies deck because you play this on turn 2. Hopefully you're playing a land on turn 3. So you're attacking with a 2-power flyer on turn 2. Obviously, or on turn 3, sorry. Obviously, the fact that this doesn't have flying in and of itself does mean that it's a little bit worse because, if you don't play a land, then your 4/4 is stuck on the ground. But still, like, if it becomes a 4/4, that's still like a 2 mana 4/4 that, if nothing else, you can hold the ground for your actual flyers, or can just keep hitting them on the ground. I absolutely love this card in limited. Also, this art is so cute. It's like his big bulbous eyes. Oh god, freaking Jesper. Jesper's like my new favorite artist apparently. All right, so we're gonna end. We're gonna end at the end of this page. We'll be at 350. 200. Yeah. No, we'll end at the end of this page. Kabir Takedown is a 2-minute instant. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature planeswalker. Damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature planeswalker. This might see decent play in historic token deck. 2 mana. Target creature or planeswalker. And it's an instant. Because you have other instants that you can play in that deck, like I don't remember what it's called. I can see it in my eye. Raise the Alarm. That's what it is. So you could have that. This doesn't seem that bad. It also could just be a land. I like it. I like this card. It's cool. Kazul's Fury. Apparently Kazul is still alive and ugly as ever. 3-mana instant as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. Kazul's Fury deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. This is a more expensive fling, except for the fact that it can be a land. Hagra Mauling. You should really look behind you, Core Lady. 4 mana, instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if an opponent controls no basic lands. Destroy target creature. Oh no. I don't know how well you can see this. That is the lady being eaten. She's dead. Oh man. That's a yikes. 4 mana instant. Your opponent controls no basic lands. Destroy target creature. That's such a weird design. Because you're going to tend to see decks not have any basics if they're 3-colored, and you tend to see 3-color decks be control. Although I guess you have mid-range decks. It doesn't hit planeswalkers either. And it costs a minimum of 3. If an opponent controls no basic lands. Yeah, I'm not loving this. I'm not loving it. 3 mana 3/3. Yeah, honestly, a 3 mana 3/3 with 1 relevant creature type at common and limited. This card's good. Yeah, this is just like fine and limited, right? Like the Centaur Courser or whatever they're called. Just like the 3 mana 3/3 Centaurs. Those are like usually playable, right? Mikindi Ox, 5 mana 4/4. Oh wait, this would be a different version. I like both of these versions. I like the blues on the landfall one, or on the special art one. But I don't know. I think I like the realism of this one. Anyway, whenever land is the battlefield you control, tap target creature and opponent controls. That's fine. I don't know. Shatterskull Smashing. Rocks fall, the party dies. Is an X double red sorcery. Deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, it deals twice X damage divided as you choose among them instead. So if you pay 7 mana for this, right, it'll deal 5 damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. So theoretically, you can just hit something for 5, or you can hit 2 things for like 3 and 1 or something like that. If X becomes 6, though, you'll be if you pay 8 mana for this, you deal 12 damage divided between 2 targets. That's not bad, especially considering you can just play this as a red land. I think like Historic Chandra likes this, and not just Historic Chandra, like Historic Mono Red Ramp. It's the deck that runs like Mindstones and things like that. Also really likes this card. I think it's cool. Cragplate Baloth, once again, can Jesper Edging. Edge. Can someone please tell me how to pronounce this? Edging? Jesper Edging. 7 mana, 6/6. Spell can't be countered. Hexproof and haste. This set's Tarnished Tyrant. Is it going to see play? Probably not, because it doesn't have trample, although it does have haste, which is nice. Kicker, 3. So you can pay 10 mana for this. If it was kicked, it enters with 4+1/+1 counters on it. So you can play 10 mana for a 10/10 hexproof haste can't be countered. It doesn't have trample, which does suck. I do like it though. Inscription of Ruins, so this seems to be a cycle. 3 mana sorcery. Black. Kicker, 2 black. Choose one if the spell is blah blah blah. Target opponent discards 2 cards. That is a on rates mind drop, but it is a rare, so obviously we have to bring something else. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is similar to a card whose name escapes me, but sees play in freaking Rakdos sack decks. Call of the Grave? Call? Something like that. Very similar rate. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. All of those are very fine individually. And if you pay 7 mana, you get all of them. Force them to discard. You get a creature which is actually not the best. Actually, destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3. This card, the place for this card is historic mono black discard. Yeah, okay. Here's why, right? You can, if you like need a blocker specifically because their creature is like too big or something, you get back your Yark's Fenlurker, or frankly, the correct choice is the discard rat whose name is escaping me. If you just need more discard effects, you just have them discard. This is mind drop, but has better options. And then of course, if they just have a creature that's pressuring your Davriel or something, you can kill it. And then if you have a bunch of mana, you can play all of it, and it's just fantastic. I think that's the home for this card. I very well could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Shut up. 2 mana, Royal Eruption, sorcery. It deals 3 damage to any target. If the spell is kicked, it deals 5 damage instead. So for 7 mana, you get to deal 5 damage to any target, which is like it's more expensive than it should be. But you do just have a sorcerer speed. 3 damage to any target. Huh. Can Historic Burn play this? Like, it's on rate for Historic Burn, right? 2 mana for 3 damage. But if you flood out, and it's a bad flood, but if you flood out, that is a quarter of your opponent's life total. Does this see play in Historic Burn? It might. It honestly might. Sorcery. But it deals 3 damage to any target. If it was kicked, it deals 5 damage instead. Yeah, that might be decent. Tended Healer is a 4 mana 2/3 core cleric. I love core. I said it before, but I love them. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 cat creature token. 3 mana, another target cleric gains lifelink until end of turn. I'm not in love with this card stats. I would have preferred to see, like, honestly, like a 1/4. But 2/3 seems so vulnerable. You can make cats, though. Oh, it can't target itself with lifelink. Yeah. That makes me think this card is not great. Expedition Champion is a 3 mana 2/3 human warrior. Gets +2/+0 as long as you control another warrior. So it's a 3 mana 2/3, so that's... No, I mean, it's 3 mana 2/3 with relevant creature types and upside. It can be a 3 mana 4/3. Seems fine. Merfolk Falconeer. Oh my gosh, this Falcon is adorable. I don't care about the Oh! Are like all of the Merfolk from Zendikar? Wait. Isn't Cure from Zendikar? Why do the Merfolk look like this? Cure's from Zendikar. Yeah, why do the Merfolk look like this? When they straight up don't. After I finish recording this video, I have to look at the Merfolk of previous Zendikar sets, because this just doesn't seem right to me. Because, like, Cure is from this land, and apparently all of the Zendikari Merfolk are redheads now? Maybe they always were, but Cure does not fit at all. Anyway, 5 mana 4/4 flyer. Whenever you cast a kick spell, scry 2. This card is reasonable and limited regardless. 5 mana 4/4 flyer is fine. With upside, pretty cool. Thieving Skydiver is a 2 mana 2/1 flying Merfolk rogue. thinks flies for some reason. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with CMC X or less. If that artifact is an equipment, attach it to Thief's Skydiver. This is dumb. X can't be 0, so that is unfortunate. It does mean that you can't just get a free Bone Saw or like that Rainbow Cloak. I don't know what it's called. There, a Quarter Shield. I'm trying to think of all of the 0 mana artifacts that I played in Cheerios, but I feel like this card is just rude in EDH, right? Like just 3 mana, 3 mana to play this and steal a Soul Ring, 4 mana to play this and steal any of the signets. Yeah, this seems rude. This seems rude. Yeah. Disenchant is back. Cool. Cargon Intimidator. 2 mana, 3/1 human warrior. Cowards can't block warriors. Did you know that? 1 mana. Choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Cargon Intimidator gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It's limited. You can only have it become a 4/2. Cool. Target creature becomes a coward until end of turn. Once again, it's limited. You can only make 1 coward. And the last one, target warrior gains trample until end of turn. Once again, you can only choose this 1 time. I like the balance of this card. This is reasonable. It is strong. Don't get me wrong. Like 2 mana 3/1 with relevant creature types and extra and upside is probably decent. Iridescent Hornbeetle is a 5 mana 3/4 insect. At the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each 1/1 counter you've put on creatures under your control this turn. This is like the top end for the the counters deck in limited, although I feel like there probably is just going to be better payoff for it. Seagate Restoration is a 7 mana blue sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand +1. You have no maximum hand size the rest of this game, or it can be a bolt land, I guess. I don't know what you want to call these exactly. I added it to a deck that I'm not actually building. Draw cards equals the number of cards in your hand +1. So this, I mean, this gets better when you already have a bunch of cards, and it's a sorcery, so it's not like you can hold things up. I think this is the weakest of these cards so far, of the bolt lands DFCs. All right, and that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. I'd like to thank my lovely patrons for the continued support, especially Fogwind. If you'd like to join them and support the show, you'll find links in the description below. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and until next time, I'll be on. Woo!